And welcome back. The new film, High Flying Bird, tells the story of a sports agent named Ray Burke.
He comes up with a radical idea during a pro basketball lockout.
He wants to shift the balance of power and money. Now he just needs to get the players on board.
The money would go direct to you two. No players association, no league.
It's 10% for you in taxes, right?
Eric, it ain't about the money, man. We're talking about money because that's what makes them listen and pay attention. But this makes you the decider, brother. The game that they made over the game is over. It's your game now, if you want it.
Joining us now are three of the film's stars, André, Holland, Zazie Beetz. I knew I was going to mess it up. Zazie.
Phonetically spelled.
And Kyle MacLachlan. Good morning, guys.
morning.
So nice to have you here.
Good morning. Thanks for
So
having
tell
us.
us about, it's a movie about basketball that involves very little basketball. But tell us more about the game on top of the game.
So we got interested in this idea about 5 years ago, Steven and I did, while we were on set working on a show called The Nick, which we did together. And we started talking about the power dynamics in professional sport. So we started, discussing that around that same time. The Donald Sterling tapes came out, so the question of race got introduced into the conversation. And eventually we came up with this idea. We used the NBA as a framework to discuss sort of power and how power could potentially be redistributed.
Talk a little bit about that. We were talking a little bit off camera. This is a hot topic, or it's one of those things. I say it's a hot topic. People talk about it, but not necessarily in public. It's one of those things where you think about it sometimes when you're watching a game, the dynamics. Talk about your role in all of this.
So I play an owner of an NBA franchise team, probably based here in New York, although it's never stated. And I'm a businessman, and that's the way Terrell McCraney wrote the script. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and during the process, he has great respect for this man, Ray Burke, his character Ray Burke, because he recognizes the power and the ability and the skill that he has, and that he's out manipulating the owners.
Fascinating.
Zazie, your role is integral in all of this. You symbolize the role that a lot of women play in professional sports.
I guess I do. I mean, I play his assistant, and I'm a young woman who has sort of ambitions beyond assistant work. Not that that's a bad thing to do. It's really hard to be a really good assistant. And yeah, but I get emotionally involved with the clients, wanting to serve the clients, but then also sort of having my own goals and my own things, and those two things kind of come to a head in a bit. But I think what you're getting at is, yes, there are many women in sort of the sports industry working more behind the scenes that we don't really see as often.
Right.
And there are also many women who play sports that we also don't see. There's the female NFL, for example.
Just one example.
I enjoy you so much.
It's like you're the same person. Just FYI, you've never met him, but you're the same.
I know you're not here to talk about Atlanta. I get it. You're here to talk about this movie. But I just enjoy you so much. Anyway,
Go ahead, Dylan.
Can we make the transition to snot rockets? Is that something we can do?
It's your show. We can do whatever we want to do.
I know. So you do have this moment where,
Yeah,
I guess
well,
blowing your nose.
We have a great scene together in a sauna where we come in, and it's kind of the two. We're basically facing off a little bit, although very very subtly, very well written again by Mr. McCraney. And at one point in a power move that's unexpected, I do clear my sinuses, which evidently you're saying actually did happen. Throughout,
Really?
in a situation. So and I read it and I was like,
it's a power
like,
thing?
Steven, how do I need a special thing? Is there an ointment that I've got to use? I don't know. How does this
Also,
work?
really quickly, Andre, this whole thing, it's shot on an iPhone. Is that right? Is that
That's
true?
right.
The
That's
entire film.
the whole movie?
Top to bottom, the whole movie.
Landscape, I'm learning.
Gotta be.
But how is that even possible? I mean, Soderbergh has such a distinct style. How do you capture that on a phone?
Well, I mean, he's a genius, in my opinion. And,
I think he adjusted the style for the phone, right? Like using that aesthetic to his advantage rather than trying to work against
Clearly, it was an iPhone 10, though. Not like a phone.
Well, it's a good topic. It's been a great film.
Thank you guys for being here. High Flying Bird is in select theaters and streaming on Netflix today.